Quarter. All right. So we're going to be making an earring right now, a circular earring. So you're going to hit the letter E or click up here where it says ellipse. And to make it a perfect circle, we have to hold down the shift button. All right. So if we have 5 inches here by 5 inches here, you know, you can determine what the size is here by looking at this, at the size, the width and the height. All right. So 3 inches is about right. So I'm going to leave it at around 3 inches. Okay. Um, Now I'm going to, as usual, get rid of the inside fill and give it a border by clicking on the plus sign for borders and throwing away the fill. All right. Now we got to change this black to red. All right. And then um, we're going to do a lot of copying and pasting of this. Okay. So the first one we're going to do is I'm going to copy this and paste it. So now I know I have two here, even though they're right on top of each other. This layers tells me I have two. So I'm just going to get whichever one and then hold down shift, scale it super small, because we're going to make the area to put our jump ring. Okay. Um, that's pretty good. What do I have here? This is about 1/4 inch. It's a little less than 1/4 inch. That's fine. I'm gonna use my arrow keys to move it so that less than half is sticking up outside of the bigger hole. So that's pretty good. Now I need to align it. So I'm gonna align these two by selecting both, clicking and dragging over both, and then just hitting this button here, right? The align center button, boom, there you go. Now once those are there, I can select it and drag it. But first, I'm going to paste another one of these circles again. So paste it here. So now I have three. I have this big one, the small one, and this new big one. So what I want you to do here is I want you to resize it, but don't just normally resize it, or not even with the shift button. What I want you to do is hold down the alt and shift at the same time. Because what that'll do is it'll resize it, but keep it centered. So go ahead and tell, right now you're making the width of the thickness of your earring. Okay, so depending on how big you want it, if you want to see what the width is from here to here, my trick is to get a rectangle and just start right there in the middle and then just go to the next one there. You'll see a snap, right? And all you need to know is know the width of this, and that'll tell you right here. So right now it's 0.23. So you can use your caliper to see the thickness after doing this trick, okay? But I'm gonna, 0.23 sounds fine for me. So I'm gonna leave it and throw this away because I don't need that anymore. Now I'm going to combine these two, okay? So now I'm gonna combine these two. I didn't wanna group these together yet, right? Because I wanted this space, this shape here. So now I'm going to grab these two and combine it with this button here. Oh, we got to save it. Don't forget to save it. You're going to name it like usual, your name. And these are called name earrings. Okay, so there we go, name earrings. All right. Actually, I'll leave this part for later, just yeah, just because. All right. So now what we're going to do is put our name in here. Okay. Or another word. So yeah. Put your name and then make it large so that it fits in here. So using the text size here, make it so that it's covering up a good amount. You're probably going to need to change the size in a bit once we change the fonts. But for now, just leave it somewhere close in a ballpark figure. And then now think of what vibe you want for your earring. Also, this cannot be a stencil font. Normally stencil fonts are cool for vector cutting, but this is a vector cutting where we're not going to use a stencil font. We just want an actual cool font, something that looks nice. also something like this is okay. The only thing that I'm worried about is like the thickness here, the thickness of this here. If it's too thin, it might be kind of weak. Also, the letter I's or anything that has it detached, unless you do something about it, it will not come out, right? But I'll show you how to fix that because I have a letter I in mind. But this is not a good, I don't like this font for the earring. So I'm going to pick a cool, that's kind of cool. I like this one for me, even though I'm not going to wear it. This is a theoretical earring. Okay. So spend some time like just finding a cool font. All right. And I would suggest writing down, let's say, for example, this is, I'm going and then I see, oh, Racing Sands 1. I'll write it down and then I'll keep going actually. Right. And that one's kind of cool. Maybe I'll write that one down too. Sarina. And no, maybe not. Yeah, that one's kind of cool. So I'm gonna, maybe I can, now I can go back between this one and the other ones. So let's just say I pick this one. So there it is. I can resize it if I need to. Like that's kind of small. You want your letters to almost get to the edge. So maybe I'll change it to 70. Let's see what that does. 70. So I typed in the number 70. That's kind of cool. Okay. So here you can resize it. Don't resize the box here ever of a text box. You don't have to do that ever. But what you can do is now grab everything and align it center just to make sure that it's centered. All right. Once you get the right font, which will take you a while, then what you do is you right click, or you click it once first, then you right click, because then that's how you get the option of convert to path. Notice how when I just right clicked on it, I don't see anything, right? But I have to click it first, then right click it. Now I get convert to path, which is what we need. So what that means is that we're going to change from text to a path, right? So look, keep looking here. When I click convert to path, 3, 2, 1, boom. See, now it says compound path. Now, if you want, you can actually click and drag your words on the text box and it'll tweak it however you want, right? So you're welcome to do that too if you want to resize it to make it bigger, something like that. Don't forget, whenever you move your text to either to realign it using this, you have to select all of these and all of them and realign it there, or you can eyeball it. Like for example, right now my name, it looks more to the right, right? So actually I'm gonna click it and use my arrow keys and just move it to the left a little bit to make it align. Now it's too much to the left. I'm gonna go right once. That's cool. That looks pretty aligned there. All right. Okay, so now we're going to combine these, right? So step one is combining these two. So the small circle and the outer circle, we combine them there. All right. Now we got to combine these two to make this one piece. Because right now this is one piece here, as you can see here. And this other piece here, as you can see here, this is a compound shape. It consists of our small circle, our big circle and our small circle, right? So what I want to do is get these things to be one piece. And so what you do is you select them and then you right click and say join paths, join paths. Because right now if I wanted to fill this in, I couldn't, right? I couldn't fill it in. So I'd have to select them and say, right click and say join paths. Boom, now we have a compound path here. Now I can do something like fill it in, right? Which we're not gonna do right now. And this, because this is a path too, we can join them to this other path, right? If you want to kind of get an eye for what it's going to look like, you can fill it in with black. That's fine, just to kind of see what it's going to look like. But you're going to have to get rid of all the black later. All right. Now, we got to do something to connect our words to our earring. So the easiest way is to get a rectangle and then just click and drag and get a rectangle to touch each letter. Okay. And it's good idea to zoom in so that you see underneath the letter. Also, make sure that you're not going outside of this line. See that? That's not cool. Okay. It has to be inside of your earring area. So the end of your rectangle has to touch this. You can use any shape you want, literally. You can use any shape. But also with the earrings that I did the other day, they were too small. It was too thin. So you want to make it somewhere, the height is, yeah, it's more than 0.1 inches thick. Okay, so a good amount is like, yeah, 0.14, 0.15, something like that. If you want to, you can make it the same thickness as this one, which was like, what was it, like 0.2 inch? Yeah, 0.2 inches, something like that. Okay, so that's all design wise up to you. Okay, so now that we have nothing but vectors, these are vectors, and a square is of course a vector. It's just lines. Now we can grab everything and just merge it with this create compound shape, and boom, now we have our earring. That's what it's going to look like, right? And if we want to get rid of the you can give it a fill to practice. Let's say it's probably going to be made out of wood. So if you want to see what it would look like, you would want to find the wood color, which is like somewhere, the brown is kind of over here somewhere. You got to play with it to find the color brown. Oh, swatch. Oh no, swatch is only in Pro. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of what. And if you want to see this color here, the numbers 255 on the R, 197 on the green, and 72 on the blue. That's kind of what it's going to look like. Of course, you can get rid of the border to see what it's going to look like. It's missing one thing though. I'm noticing now it's missing one important thing, but I'll tell you what it is in a bit. But yeah, you can get rid of the fill. When you submit it to me, it has to be without a fill and only with red border. Okay, so that's how you're going to submit it to me. All right, so I'm going to stop the record now and do it all over again, slower, and answering your questions. But the last thing that you're going to add, of course, is your little circle here. That's 0.075 by 0.075, all right? And that's going to have a red border. And it's going to be centered. It's going to be centered. So you can either use your guides or use this center align button. And then boom, there we go. All right. Okay, so I'm done with the recording. Reina, where can I? Oh, I'm not done.